Happy New Year everyone! This year Mario Kart 8 will turn 10 years old. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Anyways, one thing that I hope 2024 brings is new Bowser's Castles, my favorite track theme in Mario Kart. To start the year for this channel, I'll be ranking every mainline Bowser's Castle track that the series has to offer. And yes, that includes Tour. Since I have somehow played and possessed the footage for all of the remakes, I thought I would give y'all Tour fans a little gift to start the year. This video will be an expanded remake of that top 10 I posted a while back. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel as well as leaving a like on the video, and let me know in the comments your favorite Bowser's Castles. So with that said, let's dive into my ranking of every single Bowser's Castle in Mario Kart. Number 25, SNES Bowser's Castle 2. This shouldn't be surprising. This course not only feels terrible to play on, but Nintendo literally trolled us with the layout. You see, the track features a couple split paths throughout the race, but on one of them the path literally leads to lava. If you know what you're doing, you'll only enter this path with a feather, but falling in almost guarantees that you lose the race. Number 24, GBA Bowser's Castle 1. This track is not bad like the previous entry, but pretty mid nonetheless. You have the same corner turns as the SNES ones and some ramps for some extra excitement, cause you know, this track is really exciting and all that. Number 23, SNES Bowser's Castle 1. It's interesting to see how similar the first castles are in Super Circuit and in Super Mario Kart, but this one places higher due to that booster section. Number 22, GBA Bowser's Castle 2. And this track literally heard what I was saying because now we have boosters. With that said though, these things are hugging the walls like they're Wii fans with Funky Kong or 3DS fans with a Wiggler. You choose the analogy. Anyways, you have a whole bunch of ramps on the course, but without tricking it feels pointless. Number 21, SNES Bowser's Castle 3. This guy. Finally get to talk about you after the update. I love how Nintendo actually gave this track a remake after I praised it for so long. This track really falls on the list because it is brutal in Super Mario Kart, but if we put that aside, the layout is really good. The split paths, ramps, and boost make it the clear winner of the SNES. Number 20, DS GBA Bowser's Castle 2. Still no tricking, but a much better feel to the course regardless. The boosters are more accessible, and the ramps feel better even if it didn't improve much. Number 19, 3DS GBA Bowser's Castle 1. There wasn't much done to reimagine the track, however it's still a lot better than the original. There's tricking finally for like one ramp, but hey, better than nothing. There's also a glider section that opens up and even a shortcut as well for the end. Number 18, Tour GBA Bowser's Castle 1. It's really the same as the 3DS version, but it flows a bit better. The track looks a bit nicer and the thwomps are slightly more of a threat. Number 17, RMX Bowser's Castle 1. This is the one track on this list that I don't have footage of, but I'm not going to scrap the whole thing because of one track. Adding all of the aero platforms is something we haven't seen too much of, and adds some uniqueness to the level. Number 16, Tour GBA Bowser's Castle 3. This is overall an improvement of the original track with some added ramps for the lava sections, but like Sunset Wilds for the booster course pass, removing a cool part of the track will lose points for me. The unusual and cool mixture of colors has been removed, taking what once separated it from the others and bringing it back to the overused format. Number 15, Tour GBA Bowser Castle 2. Finally, this track has all these ramps and you can trick off them. Like seriously, it doesn't seem like too big of a deal, but it makes all the difference. And with that said, it's time to move on from the billions of worn out classic Bowser's Castles and get into the unique ones. Number 14, GBA Bowser's Castle 4. This is still GBA Bowser's Castle, but it's one of the unique ones that differentiates from the others. You'll go past some fire pits, then enter some split paths with boosts before hitting the ramps and finishing with Mecha Koopas. It's really the first one on the list where I can note some interesting things going on. Number 13, GBA Bowser's Castle 3. Many people prefer BC4 to BC3, and while I agree with that from a gameplay perspective, the theming with this one, as discussed earlier, has not been used before and again, so that makes me favor BC3. Number 12, Wii GBA Bowser's Castle 3. This is just the original track, but in 3D and with tricking, so obviously it's much better. Don't forget all the great shortcuts as well. I may be a professional casual, but I still have respect for shortcuts. They totally could have added back the Kamek detail at the end of the track though. Number 11, Tour SNES Bowser's Castle 3. They actually put a lot of effort into this remake and it sure paid off. They made an SNES track like really good. Everything that the original course lacked is now present. Verticality, tricking, and some added details as the finishing touch. Number 10, Switch SNES Bowser's Castle 3. This remake really shows how good of a note the Booster Course Pass ended on. They not only picked a track that was badly in need of representation, but instead of pulling a Toad circuit, they cranked the graphics to a base game level when the Tour version was right there for a copy-paste job. Really pleased me with this one. Number 9, Tour 3DS Bowser Castle. Between the original track and the remake, it's really a toss-up. While technically the remake is better with some added ramps and stuff, I just prefer the overall feeling of the original, mostly because of visuals and controlling. Number 8, 3DS Bowser's Castle. As for the actual track, I just had to rank it last of the 3D Bowser's Castles. This sounds weird given that it arguably has the best music and best beginning of all of them, but the middle and end are just not at that level. The rotating barrel is kind of cool, and water with lava hasn't been seen before, because that's not how science works, but besides that, it's pretty uninteresting compared to the rest. Number 7, DS Bowser's Castle. This was one of my favorites growing up, and while it clearly isn't the best track in the series, it will always hold a special place in my heart. The track holds some good parts from other Bowser's Castles like the rotating floor from Double Dash and the spiral from Mario Kart 64, while having new additions including what I like to call the plank, which is a rotating cylinder that is the fastest way to go. If you fall off, then you must take the path of shame and lose some time. There's also some moving platforms at the end, which is an interesting mechanic. Number 6, N64 Bowser's Castle. This track is absolutely amazing and a classic for sure. From the menacing music to Marty the Green Thwomp, this track is a prime example of what a Bowser's Castle should be. I mean, you're chased down a corridor by moving thwomps, like how cool is that? With all of that said though, this version is hindered by Mario Kart 64's controlling, which might be a preference, but I really struggle with some sections, which makes racing not as fun. Number 5, Tour GBA Bowser Castle 4. Holy cannolis, guacamoles, whatever food you want to throw in, this track is phenomenal. If all GBA remakes just didn't exist and the theme was brand new, then you could throw this into the big name Bowser Castle mix and no one would bat an eye. It includes aspects from the original track, but not only improves upon them, but adds new things like a pinball section, rickety pillars, and plenty of gliders to choose from. Combine this with all the split paths and tricking and you have yourself a certified banger. Number 4, Wii U Bowser's Castle. They did a great job with this one. You begin with a nice Super Mario Bros. 3 reference before moving on to the anti-gravity section. Here you have a bunch of ramps, fire bars, and even wrecking balls to make things real interesting. End that off with a Bowser statue punching the track and a glide over lava with the slapping music to put the cherry on top. Number 3, Wii N64 Bowser's Castle. The top 3 to this list is all pretty close and all fantastic courses. Anyways, when you go all out on a remake for a great such as this, then you know it's going to be something special. It's basically the same track as the original, just with a visual glow up and better controlling. Number 2, GameCube Bowser's Castle. No one really mentions this Bowser's Castle, but I am just obsessed with it. A massive room filled to the brim with thwomps, a lava room with lava bubbles and a spiral turn, a room dedicated to a menacing fire bar, and most importantly, the first ever Bowser statue to give you an entertaining ending. But only one can beat it, so let's go to number 1. Number 1, Wii Bowser's Castle. This is no doubt the best Bowser's Castle for me, as well as one of my favorite tracks in the entire series. Everything feels amazing, with a massive ramp to start leading to the magical wobbly floor for you to trick off of. After some sharp turns, you get to the thrilling statue section, with you having to hit the half pipes while avoiding some exploding fireballs. To end the whole thing off, you go off some ramps and then finally trick on some lava geysers that determine the outcome of the race. And that is my ranking of every Bowser's Castle in mainline Mario Kart. Thanks for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see y'all in the next one. Have a good one.